another Parts Factory installation tutorial video. Today we're going to be chucking an alternator on this Suzuki Swift. Doing this type of thing often and need tutorial videos such as this one, make sure you do like and subscribe. And now this particular alternator is going to be installed onto this 05 to 011 EZ Suzuki Swift. Now that can either be the 1.5 or the 1.6 litre, and if you are in the market for a alternator, the first thing you want to check is whether or not your alternator has a 3-pin plug, which is kind of oval, or a 4-pin plug, which is square. Once you know those particulars, you can head on over to any supplier of your choice. We recommend us at Parts Factory Australia, and basically select 4-pin alternator or 3-pin alternator. Now they're not cross-compatible, so you need to make sure you get that right. The easiest way to check is obviously use your flashlight on your phone, head down there with a little flashlight, take a photo, make sure the plug's pulled out, and you'll be able to see if it's 3-pin or 4-pin. That's the only details you need to know. Now, before we go any further, if you are interested in this product, we do have them online within Australia for $183.30, free delivery Australia-wide. I'm going to chuck the link up for you. That's the product there, and yeah, look, it's one of the cheapest online. We have a 3-year warranty, so look, there's really nothing to lose. Okay, let's get into the install. Right, so there's your alternator down in there. Now you can see it's quite a tight spot, so my best guess will be that it's going to come out of the bottom of the car. So that means we're going to have to get the car pretty high up in the air. For that I'm going to use a jack and a stand. We're going to jack it right from the center of the screen up. I'm going to put a stand under it as high as we possibly can. I'm then going to lay a mat down. I might even pull that rim off just for better access. But then after we've done all that work, we're going to undo the top bolt just here. I'm going to undo the positive terminal, pull the plug out of the back of the alternator. Then I'm going to hop under. I'm going to see if I can get my camera up in there, but I think I'm going to struggle. And then basically I'm going to do the bottom bolt. I'm going to pull the alternator out the bottom, replace it with the new one, and yeah, hopefully it's all pretty straightforward. The reason I'm going to start on the top first is because the top's directly connected to the tensioner for the belt. So we can't pull the alternator off until that belt is loosened up. So I'm going to use a 12mm. It's very, very tight. Right, so I'll tell you now, that top bolt was extremely tight. Don't think you're the only one that struggles to get that. There it is there, little 12mm. Chuck that up out of the way. Now we're going to go for the positive terminal. Before we touch any of the electronics, we're going to disconnect the main earth wire from the battery with a 10mm. Sure my battery's disconnected. Just want to crack it, and you should be able to finish it off with your fingers once it's been cracked and spun a bit. That up out of the way. We're going to pull that positive terminal off. Then I'm going to pull the little plug out. So as you can see, we've undone the top bolt there. We've undone the main positive wire down the back over there. We've pulled the plug off right out of the way. Right, we now go under the car. First things first, I'm going to have a quick look. The first thing we're going to need to undo is basically this Torx bit. Then you pull these two 12mm to release that bracket off the engine. You see this bracket? It's like a triangle. I'm going to pull the 12mm, Then I'm going to remove this fan belt because the alternator will flop and the fan belt will become loose. Then I'm going to remove this 12mm and that 12mm just there. This bracket will pull. That means that through this gap here, the alternator will come out. Right, so the first thing I'm going to do underneath the car, I'm going to just undo this Allen key. Yes, this Allen key. The Allen key was a long one. That's good, because that means that now all we have to do is pull that bracket off, which can be seen. See this bracket here? I'm going to pull this little bracket off. There, you can see that little bracket there, because you can see here is the alternator. There is the bracket, here's your fan belt. We're going to pull this fan belt off and then we're going to pull the alternator through that gap there. Get that bracket off as quick as possible. 1. Now. Fan belt, aha, look at that. You can see the alternator has already just fallen down right in front of us. Now I'm hoping that this alternator pulls out this hole here, or at least down the bottom over here. Right, you can see the alternator is a little stuck. Now, in order to get this out, there's a few ways we can go about it, but I'm going to try one particular way on film, and if everything goes correctly, you'll see me do it and then tell you what it is. So, once we lean the engine forward, as I demonstrated in that video, you can then pull your alternator out of the hole. Now I will demonstrate quickly, God, I'm out of breath, how I did that. Now, you can see here, this is your top mount, and all we've actually done, I've actually unplugged nothing. All I've done is I jacked the engine up softly on the sump. You want it right on maybe one of the strength or the strong edges of the sump. On the edges, nice and straight. Advice: use a little block of wood. But I've done it before, so I knew where to put it. Use a little block of wood; it'll stop the sump from cracking. Then jack it up, undo the 4 bolts that hold on the mount. This is your little mount here, and then the engine actually leans forward. Look at that; it's bloody magic. Okay, right, got it. Not the easiest alternator, I'll be honest. This took me 35 minutes. If I did it again, 25. So using this video, you should be able to tackle in about half an hour. This one's a 4-pin. Didn't check because I didn't need to. I will be putting this one back on. There's actually nothing wrong with it. But as I did say on the website, when you do go to purchase this product, this is a 3-pin kind. We have the 4-pin kind coming. I can almost guarantee by the time you see this video, it's on the site. I think the current price for the 4-pin one will be $195, $185 for the 3-pin one. Alrighty, let's chuck it back on. Right, so first things first, grab your new alternator, in my case, the other one, the second-hand one. I'm going to put it back in that hole. Here it comes. You can see the motor rises back up into position. You want to grab your mount, your little mount without the bolts, place it back on the rubber mount, See, as we bring the motor up, it will be inclined by itself to pop back into the correct position. So I don't think you're going to have to do too much alignment. The only real alignment is probably with a bar such as this one. You're just going to be rocking that motor back and forth just until you see those bolts through the holes of the mount. My motor's still a little too low. Right, so we've now jacked our engine back up. We've put our top engine mount back on, and you can see down in that hole, the alternator sits there ready to be mounted back up to its original mounts. Alrighty, so I'm going to start by doing the top mount. That way the alternator's sitting there, resting, and it's easy to access for us. Okay, let's get into it. So we'll grab our top bolt. I'll pull our alternator up into position. And we're going to grab the alternator with our left hand. I'm going to see if I can pick it up and then slide the mounting bolt in with my right hand. It's probably one of the most difficult parts of the job. There we go. Okay, so once that bottom bolt's in, we can now head back up to the top, see if we can get that top bolt back in. Just while we're here, guys, before we go any further, grab your fan belt and just stick it back onto the alternator. Right, so we've now got the bottom bolts on, we've got the fan belt on, and it's now time to put our top bolt in. To do that, I'm going to use a little bar, I'm going to stick it down in the hole. I'm going to line up the top bolt with the alternator using my left hand. Right, so once you have the top bolt in, the fan belt's nice and tight and the bottom bracket's all tightened up, you can then put the 10mm positive terminal nut back onto the output of the alternator, put your plug back in the back of the alternator. We'll do a cross check, make sure everything's done properly and secure, and then yeah. Don't forget your main mounting bolt on the bottom, which is an Allen key. Don't forget to put your positive terminal back on your engine. Clean up all the remaining tools, making sure you're not closing anything under the bonnet. Right, we're all done. Overall, it was a pretty tough job, to be honest. Having to drop that engine forward off its top engine mount really made it a little bit more advanced than you know, I originally expected. But look, it's all back together now. Probably the hardest part about the job was getting the top bolt back on the top of the alternator. There's a little tensioner bolt that makes that arm move up and down on the top, so just keep an eye out for that. If you are interested in this product, we do have them available on our website, www.partsfactoryoz.com.au. I'll chuck the link up on the screen. Oh, and if you could, do me a favour, like and subscribe to the channel. It really obviously helps us, you know that there's a lot of people out there that are interested in this kind of thing. That way I can bring out more videos in the future. Alrighty guys, I'm Lucas, and thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.